Welcome back to another episode of a healing podcast where you and I have simple conversation, talk about things that we normally don't talk about, and this been on our mind. And this is a safe place where you are. Jesus Christ, got caught. This is a safe place where we are understanding, we are validated, we are valued, and we are able to be vulnerable. There is no bad judgment allowed, only allowed to be free. Thank you so much for coming back. I am your host, Taylor Michelle, and I'm back. Okay, so before we get started, I have two icebreakers that I want to do. This is not promoted, but I did buy Icebreaker Starter Pack Best Self. This is a real great start if you want to have healthy relationships, whether it's like with your romantic couple, like partner, friends, uh, family, coworker, anything of that is relationship wise, best um best to start with. And I only say that because I use this in my therapy session. They have different like categories. So you got life, random, deep, experience, if you could or would you rather. And they're all color coded, right? So we about to get into it. And I'm excited. And then we're gonna pull a card from tonight's conversation. I don't know if you ever seen their like promotion videos or like been to one of their panel thing, like podcast. I call it a panel podcast. I really want to go. They'll be here in Atlanta Sunday actually, and I'm not gonna be there. I'm pissed. I'm gonna pull one out there, and then one out here. This is not promoted either, but I really mess with Ace Metaphor in his creation. So let's get it. Oh, I'm so sorry. Um, I think I'm gonna do. Ooh, I don't know which one I want to do. You know what? I'm just gonna close my eyes and choose. I said close my eyes, and my eyes still open. Close your eyes, girl. Okay. Of course it would be deep. Wow. When was the last time you cried and wow? And why? God, you're hysterical. My last time crying was today, like 10 minutes ago. Why? Because I got into it with my mom. Um, it says deep. Um, my reason why I cried is because I'm really tired of being rejected and I don't want to cry again because I hate crying, but it's very necessary. I cried because um I am tired of being rejected by my own mother, and I'm tired of feeling the way I feel. I have so many thoughts in my head when it comes to my mom. My mom really like irritates me and bothers me, but it's to the point where it's like I care so much about the need of my mother. I've had some experience with my mom that wasn't very pleasant and that like hurt me. And being in this walk with God, I have been trying to like literally overcome this, find peace, find um, grace in it. But it's hard because I have rage inside of me, like so much rage. And I realized that me and my mom will never have a understanding because in her perception she feels like that I am telling her that she is a bad mom versus me is that I'm holding her accountable that you failed me. You disappointed me, you neglected me, you rejected me. And all I want you to do is to admit that you weren't there for me the way I needed you to be there. Like there are moments in my life where I was literally lost as being a woman, being a girl, trying to understand like the womanhood part of it, and I had no guidance. I was lost. I don't My mom never took me bra shopping. Like, there was a time in, I think, high school where I was told that people used to call me Lucy because I had a sports bra on. And I didn't like the fact that I didn't have no guidance. Even when it came to like the menstrual side of it, my mom didn't teach me that. She literally said, just make sure you don't stick it up your asshole. That was my guidance. And so I really wish that I had the insight and um, the tools I needed to equip as a younger girl, because I've experienced things that I knew that if I had this information, I would be able to avoid it. So, yeah, cool. I'm glad that that helped. And it just irritates me. And what I find bizarre is that there are a lot of people in this world that never met their parents. Will never ever experience their parents. Yet we have children or people my age, young adults my age who have their parents in their life that's very, very present, and yet I felt neglection from you, and you're here, like you live here, like you're alive, and there are people who are unfortunate than me, and I'm very fortunate to have my parents in my life, and yet I experience neglection, abandonment, rejection, etc. I find that so bizarre and so odd. It never makes sense to me. Never. Never. And it's more deeper for it to me, but that's how far I'm gonna go. So today was my last time crying. And which was crazy because before I got home, I literally was at the gym, like listening to Sarah Jakes and listening to Smokey Nerfer. I don't know if I'm saying his last name right. God was literally warning me that this was about to happen, and I paid no attention to it. I literally, before my mom walked in the door, I was literally in worship. I was listening to a song called "Open the Eyes of My Heart" by Jordan something, and like out of nowhere, like I was warned that this was coming to me. I got a phone call and everything. Didn't pay attention to none of it. I'm not gonna go into deep of what the situation was. One thing that I know about me is that I'm very passionate to the people that I really, really care about. And when it comes to my truth and when it comes to my character, or if you assume something of me and I didn't do it, I get there because it's not truthful. And what you're not going to do is tell me that I did something that I know I didn't do. I never saw myself going too much, like, I've never saw myself in range like that before. Like, I felt like I lost control, like self control. I didn't harm my mom. I didn't put my hands on her. I didn't call her out her name. I simply was angry, passionately, and I expressed myself because it bothers me that the fact that you assume that of the situation that happened, you didn't even come to me in a mindful manner or like question me or ask me. You just assumed and blamed me. My character and my dignity and my integrity holds weight to me. And I will not allow anyone to come for me like that. I don't care who you are. Okay. And it just sparked something in me. Like in the middle of me worshiping. That's so crazy. I literally had to call one of my church moms to calm me down. It got that bad. Literally. Like, this literally happened maybe like 5-10 minutes before my friend came, before shooting this. Yeah, that's how I know I'm in the spirit. That's how I know things are happening for me. Okay, next one. Cool. If we were to binge watch a TV series or a movie franchise, what would it be and why? Okay, funny. Something funny about me. I am into filming. I love filming. I love doing all this other stuff, yada, yada, yada. However, if you was to ask me questions about movies and TVs, shows, I wouldn't know them because I don't turn my TV on to watch TV shows. I recently just got into watching TV again. There was a point in my life where I was not watching TV at all. Like I would literally sit in my room with my TV off, not watching nothing. So right now, it would be Bridgerton because I have been on Bridgerton. Bridgerton or 13 Reasons Why. Those are the two shows that got me hooked. Why? 13 Reasons Why. I know I'm late in the game, but if you have not seen 13 Reasons Why, I highly recommend you to watch 13 Reasons Why. It is 4 seasons. I'm on season 2. It's really, really good. Be advised if you are not in the mental capacity to handle what's going on, because they talk about real life stuff. And I feel like it's really recommended for people so they can know like when to to get guidance. Like each character gives you guidance and understanding, and like it's so relatable. And I feel like it's so useful in today's society or any society that we live in. And then Bridgerton is really juicy. For some reason, like when they talk in questions. Like, I suppose you love me, dearest. I just find that and then the TV so good. What I find so interesting, this is TMI. Excuse me, sorry, Trizzy, for this. But they would have people, I call them security guards, little people that not drive, but ride the horses and stuff like that, and they had the little service and when they did the service people had to be right there. I couldn't do that. I couldn't be in a room with something. No, you got to go. You got to go. But this is a good show, and I never really got into the England princess stuff, all that other stuff. Some starter questions that I wanted to, get into before I get into this episode. I'm really allowing God to lead me, because normally of the times I would force myself to do what I wanted to do, and it never got done the way it needed to get done. So now I'm in a position where I'm learning how to trust God. I met a friend maybe a week ago, and he gave me this analogy that I will always remember: how to trust God and how to be still. And I can't wait for him to be on this podcast. He gave me the analogy of when you are trusting God and you're being still, the saying, Jesus takes the wheel. It's literal. It's like you're in the back seat of the car and Jesus is driving, and all you doing is watching for what he is showing you. And it's easier said than done. So I wanted to do something differently and not force conversation, but welcome conversation, open conversation, to make it simple. And I wanted to make it free because I don't know if y'all like me, but I have a lot of thoughts and I have a lot of questions and I have different opinions, and I just want to share them. And I just hope that whatever I share with y'all, that it's relatable and it helps you and it also heals you, and that you are not alone. So I hope that you stay along with me. So 2 questions that I had for myself was my goals and who would I love to work with. Okay, I thought about this yesterday when I was at $3 Cafe. So I want to work with B. Simone, Ashley, Megan. I know that they were best friends. No, for sure. They both are 2 amazing women, and I still enjoy both their context and who they are. Just because No For Sure podcast is not with us doesn't mean they aren't with us in their individual separate life. That has nothing to do with me. It's not my business, nor is it my right to speak on something that I don't know. However, I still want to work with B. Simone, Megan Ashley. Um, I don't know if y'all know them, Shits and Giggles. I want to work with them. They are hard. They cracked me up so much. I enjoyed their podcast. I want to work with them. I want to work with Young Philly, Chunks, Harry, Nella Rose. New England, the UK really spicing stuff up. US really ain't got nothing on UK real now because they've been popping their ish lately. Who else do I want to work with? I thought about this. Uh, I want to work with the Basement. I don't know if y'all know who that is, but he got yellow glasses like me. I can't think of his name. Tim. His name is Tim. Who else do I want to work with? Lady London. She's a poetic rapper. She's like the female version of Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole. And y'all really sleeping on her. Her freestyles go crazy. I can't think of anybody else, but I would enjoy working with them. And I will guest speakers. Okay, so guest speakers I want on my podcast, and other podcasts I wish. Okay, so I got that part. So guest speakers. There are a lot of guest speakers that I want on my channel. As far as friends and family, y'all not gonna know them. But I have a couple of people in mind for guest speakers that I want on my channel. I literally just named all my guest speakers that I want to be on their podcast, but I also want them on my podcast. Cool. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes. So, there are a couple of things that I want to talk about. So we're going to get into sugar honey iced tea. We're going to get into it. We're going to have a discussion. Just a reminder that this is an open space, so everybody's opinions are valid. No one is wrong. If you disagree, you disagree. But we are open. And it is okay to have a different opinion. You don't always have to agree to things. Okay, cool. This is gonna be hard. I've noticed that lately that I haven't been honest with myself uh, with the things that I've been going on. I haven't been really present in my world, but I've been present in my thoughts. I don't know if you know the difference between that, but the differences between that is that when you are present in your thoughts, you are absent from the world. You're dissociating with yourself from the world. You're disconnected from the world. And when things are around you, because you're so in tune with your thoughts, and your thoughts are engaging with you because you have so much questions and you are like, what if this, what if that, you don't know what's around you, you're unaware, you're oblivious to society in the world unintentionally, because it's not intentional, because you're absent from the present world. And I've realized that yesterday when I was like, I was going somewhere. I realized that I was focusing on like the thoughts that are in my head that were bothering me. Am I doing the right thing? And I realized that I wasn't really totally being honest with myself or embracing or accepting the fact that where I'm in my life. And I really struggle with feelings and emotions. And I'm learning how to identify them and, learn from what I was taught, and then taking from what I believe and what I value. So if you were taught a certain way in your household, it doesn't mean it's the right thing for you. You can have another belief and another value that works best for you. If you know you are a person who works off emotion, then there should be no reason why you are in a room or in a surroundings with people who are not emotionally intelligent, or to give you the emotions that you need for you to thrive in the world. If you get what I'm saying. If you want to be watered, that means you need to be around people who water themselves, not people who you hold attachments to. Okay? Cool. So, some of the things that I haven't been honest about myself is that I wasn't embracing my now, like what's going on now, because I'm so focused in on improving and being better at what should I do in this situation? I experienced this. Am I doing the right things? And I didn't know that I was making checkbox lists. Like I was like, you know how you do like have a like an errand or a to do list and you got checkbox. Yeah, I was doing that type of stuff instead of allowing God to lead me and trusting in Him. And you know the scripture that says, "Trust in all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. For my ways aren't your ways. Seek me." That's real. I really want to talk about that scripture because a lot of times when we say that, we have a lack of trust within ourselves than we do with God, because it's not God who we can't trust. We can't trust the things that God show us is because of the things that we experience in situations that we have. Like if you experience rejection and you have a lack of trust in that, how are you able going to agree with God, what He has for you, if you haven't come to agreement with yourself that you have a problem with trust? Because your trust doesn't come from anything but what you stem from your experience. I learned in I learned this from a teacher at Stockbridge Middle. She was like a mental awareness wealth therapy. She taught me, and I agree with her wholeheartedly. Every behavior has a function, and I definitely agree. Every behavior does have a function, but it also stems to an experience for whatever it is. So I say that because when you are trusting, you also are placing faith. The substance is faith. That's what pleases God. So when you trust, you also have faith. They go hand in hand. They like cousins, they brothers, they twins. They like this. They locked in together. So when they two are separated, what do you have? What are you giving to God in all your heart? Okay? So I had to like literally learn that I wasn't being honest with myself. That I wasn't embracing the fact that this is what I truly feel right now in my world, in my life. I be so focused on what's happening, around me, or no, what's happening at me, instead of focusing on what's happening for me. Why is this happening? If that makes sense. And I really struggle with accepting that, like, I am the way I am. Embracing that this is who I am because of experience of being judged or being et cetera, et cetera. And I feel like it's okay to like, it's okay to not be okay because it's not permanent, it's temporary. So I'm just learning how to embrace and to accept what's going on and not be so judgmental on myself, to let go of my own judgmental and my own perspective of myself, because sometimes we can be our biggest critic and we can be hard on ourselves. And I'm learning how to be gentle with myself and give myself grace. And this has been like a really difficult unease thing because I don't never want to have to worry about where I am in life or providing for myself. I don't want to worry. I want peace. My biggest priority is peace and healing and being in a place where I am not worrying about who's around me that's betraying me, who's around me doing like stupid stuff that I got to question your loyalty. I don't want to have to do none of that. So that's one thing that I'm learning. Something else that's I'm learning about is love. In my past relationships, I never knew the definition of love. I was never taught love. I don't know what love, well, I'm not going to say I don't know what love is because I do now know what love is. I didn't understand the meaningful of what love is. we go by, I have realized society and culture, we go by what people tell us, and we don't do our own research, and we don't go see for ourselves. 2 years ago, I experienced, um, I'm not going to call it a relationship because it wasn't a relationship, but I met a young man and I fell in love with him within a month. And I do not regret it. I fall in love fast and I fall in love hard. I'm a lover. I'm a lover girl. But it took me 2 years to identify why I went through the things that I went through. Things will be blurry, things will be fuzzy. And anytime I hear the word love or I think about the word love, I always um, hear the scripture, love covers a multitude of sins. And love never fails. Love is the greatest of them all. Like that's the scripture that comes in mind. Scriptures that come into mind. And I realized that even though like I wasn't in a relationship with this man and that I had my delts with him and that I had my memories and my moments, that I had a hard time embracing the love that I had because I have never felt love before from somebody or giving love, and I was really guilty and ashamed of the fact that I even loved him. I questioned for 2 years, why do I love somebody that doesn't love me? And why do I love somebody who put me through so much crap and bull crap? Yet there's more cons than there is pros. Yet the pros hold more value and more weight than the cons. And I learned something about myself when it comes to love, or just love within itself, is that you're not defined by your mistakes. I do not care about making mistakes or someone that I love that makes mistakes, because I know that it is natural, that it is common. I have a mindset of longevity that I know that you are going to grow, you are going to mess up, that you are not perfect, that we are imperfect. Imperfect. We're imperfect. We're imperfect people. And I think because I know that, I know how to love beyond the mistakes or beyond the things that that person is ashamed of or guilty. And I also realized in my situation, because this is a concept or a thought that I have in my head for the situation I had with this young man, is I really don't think that he has ever dealt with a woman like me myself that love past his imperfections, because I should not be with a man like that. Absolutely not. But the love that I have for him is beyond measures. And I feel like that's unconditional love. Like, I think, I believe that he never had a love that is forgiveful, not forgiveful, forgiveness, that has forgiveness in it, that sees him for who he is, that doesn't judge him for the choices that he makes in life, that doesn't, you know, criticize him, but accept him. Have y'all ever been in a situation where, like, when it's couples and they be like, oh, you know, you can be a better man than this, you know, you have potential? F all that. If I already see and know that you already have the potential and I already know that, let's go ahead and skip that conversation, because we both know that you are better than that. I believe that he never had a woman that was very honest or that was very confident in what she wants, you know? Or like had so much faith, because one of one conversation that me and him had was at the fact that he believed that we were incompatible, and I believed that we were compatible. And I still believe that. I was always ashamed of having the faith that I have because of it. And I'm learning that it is not because I'm overly positive or I'm delusional. I really do honestly believe that he really never experienced a genuine woman who actually cared for him and who he is. Because I am a positive person, but I'm also confident. I'm confident and I know what I want. And I'm a very independent woman, so I don't need anyone. But the fact that I want you in my space says a lot because I can carry myself. I could provide for myself. But the fact that I chose or wanted you to be in my life to provide and to be there for me says a lot. And I think that gets misconstrued in the male perspective because I don't know, maybe how they were raised, the environment they accustomed. I could never speak on manhood. I can only give you my opinions and my perspective. Um, I will say that the last dude that I did talk to, um, I never realized when we stopped talking that I had a hard time letting go, and it was because of love. And I now understand that you can let somebody go and still love them, but it can also be hard to let somebody go and love them. Like I've experienced both, and now I'm in a space where like I don't talk to this man. We don't talk. On my end, there's no like ill will. Um, if I had to be real with myself, I would date him. I would try again, and I don't believe we're incompatible. I believe that when we met each other, it was needed for us to be separated in our own journey to grow and to connect, to get our own growth and our own watering our own plants and etc. And as I like talk about this, doing contrast and comparing to like relationships that I've dealt with or situations I dealt with men, they weren't always the greatest. But I can say the last one for sure, he was definitely a gentleman and he showed me a different level of value that I carry for myself in what I want in a relationship as far as go what I'm looking for into dating as in a man. Um, a lot of the men that I used to talk to or entertain, I felt like I needed them to be happy. And I'm in a place where I don't need a man to make me happy. I don't. I need myself. If I'm going to be in a relationship with you, the only thing needs to happen is my happiness needs to be increased because I'm already happy. You just increase the fact that I'm happy. I'm more happy now, if that makes sense. Um, but a lot of men that I dated were, I allowed them to degrade my body. I allowed them to walk over, didn't really speak up, people pleasing, yada, yada, yada. Really entertain men that I wasn't supposed to. And I think that stems to my abandonment issues with my father. Not knowing what man or what man to not be around or to entertain. And being in these situations, I did learn a great lessons and gain wisdom. And I'm very thankful for my Uncle Hank because he is the type of man that I look at in other men to know, do they value me? Do they open my door? Do they treat me in a such manner that I want to be treated? Um, yeah. Um, Sharing my thoughts on my relationship with God, where I am at in my relation. What did I just write? Sharing my thoughts on my relationship with God and where I'm at with my relationship with God. Okay, so when I renewed my relationship with God, it was in 2022. I got into a car accident. It wasn't a major car accident, but it was a minor car accident, but it was a hard impact. Um, in the season that I was in, I was really learning a lesson about depending on God and not depending on others. And I always question when I would talk to God, who am I talking to? Because to me, talking to a person in the physical realm makes so much sense. Talking to God and I'm looking up in the ceiling, I feel like I'm talking to the ceiling and there's nobody there. And I would be ashamed and guilty and embarrassed at the fact that I even had a relationship with God. And to even admit that, I felt guilty that the fact that I would be in private and that I had a relationship with God, that I believed in God. Like, I would be embarrassed. Now I'm in a place where I don't care. Like, I be in the gym and I be worshiping, I be having my hands up. I talk about God, I mention God. God is really my focus right now. Like, I do not care about any distractions. I really want to have an intimate, close relationship with God. I really want to depend on him and not just have knowledge of him, but to know who he is. And I don't think people know the difference between him. Having knowledge of God is applying what you know of him, correct? Knowing him is having not evidence and testimonies and saying that God is real because you took the intent of making the decision, a conscious decision, and saying that I want to spend time with God. I want to be his friend. I want to know his character. When you do that, that is being in a relationship with God. It is almost like you're meeting a friend and you're getting to know them. It applies when you're dating somebody, it applies with your parent. It is the same application, except it is with God. There's no difference in how the process go. And it's so vital for me and so important for me to be in a relationship with God. Like, non-negotiable. Like, I'm not about to be your friend and you're not in a relationship with God. How can you help me or give me guidance? You're not going to have the right words. You're not going to have what I need. I sometimes don't even know what I need. And sometimes when I talk to my friends or people at my church and they don't even know my story, they don't even know what I'm going through, they say the exact thing that I need to hear. That ain't nothing but God. The fact that I started this question off was, when was the last time you cried and why? And I literally just went through an experience. That's nothing but God. I know that God is real. And I'm not about to be in surroundings or conversations where I'm not able to speak on God or mention his name. If you feel uncomfortable, sometimes I do be feeling uncomfortable talking about God, but I'm learning how to not be uncomfortable. And I think that uncomfortable comes from of the stem of my trauma of fearing people because of my rejection and loneliness, because I don't want to be rejected because I have a different opinion on what you have to say. Like, you can express yourself to me, you can tell me how whatever you feel, that's all cool. But I should be able to have the same respect, whether you like it or not. And I think because of my experience and always being like shut down or cut off, I have I have been afraid of speaking up about how I felt. So that's where that stems to. But now I'm in a place where I'm like, well, if I can't talk about God and I can't mention him or I can't help you do this, I can't be here. And where I'm at right now with my relationship with God is trusting him, because I have a lack of trust, because I do not want to live in poverty. Like, I don't want to worry about finance. I don't want to struggle. I don't want to be unstable. I want to be sustained, stable, and secure. A lot of people say they want to be stable, and I used to be that, but I had to learn about what sustain is and what steadfast look. And if you don't know the definition of sustain, we're gonna look it up together, because that's what we do. That's what we do. I hope this is freeing y'all and helping y'all, because that's my whole motive. So sustain means to support something or keep it going. So an example they have is if you get hungry in the mid-afternoon, you might try snacking to sustain your energy through dinner. Beams, I don't know this word, so I'm not going to say it because I'm not about to embarrass myself. But again, to support something or keep going. So another word, steadfast, continuing, keep going, keep moving forward. You need strength, ask God to sustain you. You need peace, ask God to sustain it. You need love, ask God to sustain it. I promise you, I will not have a conversation with you. I will not surround myself in an environment where God is not in, you're not in relations with God. I promise you I will. And I won't even be disrespectful. Sorry, this won't work. Because I know how much I value God. I know how much he means to me. And where I'm at in my relationship with God is I'm learning how to trust, and I'm learning about grace. Grace has been coming up in the church I go to. By the way, you see the shirt. You see the shirt. You see the shirt. We serve. What it say? I something get I get my serve on at the global. We impactors. I'm an impactor. If you see my car and you see the little magnet on my car on my gas little thing, I got my little global impact magnet right there. Yeah, that's my church. Stop by, get saved. Um, no, I went like this. Talking about I threw gang signs. If I threw a gang sign, I'm putting up the C for Christ. For Christ. Throw that cross up. Hold on. Bow. Um, I'm just learning how to trust and allowing him to be my provider. um, that's very hard for me because I have to have control, because if I don't have a job, how am I going to pay this? How am I going to pay that? I literally this morning, I was tested. I didn't even get to open my eyes and my mind automatically when you got bills to pay, or you're not going to have enough money. You're not going to have this. And it just lets me know what kind of environment I used to be in. And I had to literally tell myself, God got it. Don't worry. Breathe. I'm over here saying I only got paid this much, not even knowing that when I called my credit card people, that bill had already been paid. And I'm like, you're stressing for what? That lets me know that this used to be my environment and I'm no longer in this. I lack trust in that, and that's something that I'm willing to change about myself, that I'm willing to depend on God and to trust him in that. I'm willing to be still, and being still is hard because you literally have to be still and let everything flow. You know how okay, give you an example of what stillness is. Stillness is absolutely doing nothing. You see how I'm sitting right here and I'm talking, but I'm doing nothing. You just sit there and do nothing. That's it. As simple as it is, it's hard because we are busybodies and we distract ourselves from all these other stuff. And then as soon as nighttime come, them thoughts in your head, them voices in your head, you doing to-do lists, that's called survivor mode. That's called the devil. DEVIL. That's him. He's distracting you from everything that God is planning you in your footsteps. He's directing your path. He has plans for you. He said yes before your mother can say yes to you. Literally be still. Do nothing. If some thoughts are in your head, release them out. I had to learn that I never released the silent battles that I was facing. And as I would talk to God more, release it, I realized that my problem was speaking. It's okay to be silent in certain situations, because when you're silenced in most situations, you're able to see the foolishness that's in your eyes, that's before your eyes. But it's also bad to be silenced, because when you need to speak up, you don't. I know I didn't. I'm learning how to speak up, etc., etc. So I feel like not even me, but as like a world thing, like a worldly society, like we all need to be accounted for this. Like we need to learn how to be still and allow God to be God, because he is not evil. There's not one thing evil of him. There's not. And last, where am I at with life and what I've experienced and what I am learning right now? Where am I at life? That's a great question. Like I said, allowing God to provide for me, giving grace, being in my word, not being inconsistent but being consistent, seeing what he has for me, what I've experienced. It's so much that I've experienced. What I've experienced. I experienced that not a lot of people are like me, and that's okay. So I'm okay with being genuine, and that just because you think of me like this and that's your perception, that can be your my God, perspective. You know what I'm trying to say. That could be your viewpoint, but it's not truth, and I'm okay with that. And I'm learning that I'm not in control of how people react. I'm only in control of how I react and what I say. And as long as I know that I did good and that I pleased God, I'm okay. And I'm learning to trust myself and to believe in myself, to tell myself that I'm capable, and to not have self-doubt in myself just because I'm surrounded by people who don't believe in themselves. And to remove myself out of that because I don't want to be in that surroundings. So yeah. I hope I pray that you receive healing and that God is exchanging your burdens with peace, surpassing your understandings, that you are loved, you are needed and enough. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoy watching. Please subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram at TaylorMichelle1111, TikTok and Snapchat at TayMichelle1111.